with this draft, though, I need Washington or Charlotte to get the number 1 pick. That's what I'm looking at right now. I think this is the odds, or like the worst records maybe. But it's Utah, Washington, like from worst records to fourth worst. Utah, Washington, Charlotte, New Orleans. Utah and New Orleans cannot get the first pick.
Oh my God, no. They absolutely cannot.
Please, Washington, Charlotte. Let me ask you this. Where would you want to see him go if you could pick between those 4 teams? Like, just, I think this would be dope. I kind of feel like Washington.
Give that to me one more time.
Utah, Washington, Charlotte, and New Orleans.
Utah, Washington. Charlotte.
I'll take Washington. They're working with something.
Yeah, but you get LaMelo, a guy in Charlotte.
That's true too.
I'm trying to get LaMelo out of Charlotte.
Well,
but for the league as a whole, wouldn't it be better if you had a place like Charlotte relevant?
Charlotte's never going to be relevant, man. Like,
that's not good though. Like, you want that's like,
I mean, whether they're the Bobcats or whoever, like, Charlotte has always been Charlotte. Like, it's never mattered.
So
the league's never needed Charlotte.
But that's not good. Like, I might even fix the draft to get Cooper in Charlotte.
I don't even think like Charlotte's just not a good franchise. They just, like, I don't want to see Cooper there. Like, they're just gonna fumble it the way I see it.
Well, and you're not a Kings fan, so you wouldn't say, but people would say the same thing about the Kings. People would talk about the Kings the way that we talk about Charlotte. But when the Kings were being team 1, one of the stories was like, this is great for the NBA to see this environment in a place like Sacramento. Charlotte may be the same thing. I think Washington could be the same thing. I think Washington being a good NBA team or having a good NBA team and being a good NBA city would be good for the NBA.
There's something about Washington I don't trust. That is a very literal government town. Oh, no.
If you're San Antonio and they land the first pick, do you keep Flag or do you trade that for Giannis?
San Antonio is actually, though, sorry, to answer your question, but that's the one city.
I know it's the one you don't want to see, but.
Well, just in general, it sucks that Wemby went there. San Antonio.
Wait, it's better than Charlotte.
San Antonio is boring as hell.
It's better than Charlotte.
And we've already seen them be great. We don't need to see them be great again. San Antonio and Utah. San Antonio, Utah.
I'd rather Wemby land in San Antonio than Charlotte.
Yeah, but you guys are talking about the franchises. I'm talking about, like, just the city, the atmosphere, the environment.
There is nothing wrong with San Antonio.
San Antonio.
Stop it.
San Antonio.
You've never been there.
They got that crazy.
You very literally have never been there.
San Antonio looked boring. The fan base looked boring. Like, if you watch a Spurs game, look boring. The colors are boring. We've already seen them be great. It wasn't exciting. That is awful. That's awful. We've seen them be great. We've seen them be dominant, and people talk about how boring that era was. And now we're going to do it again? No, that was terrible. Utah's another player. Utah.
Yeah, I'm out on Utah for everything.
I think OKC is boring. Not the team, but the franchise being good. It's nothing exciting about OKC. You look in the crowd. No celebrities ever there.
Who cares?
How's that different from these other teams? These other teams are boring, though. All these teams are boring.
Big market Caraway over
boring.
Here. That's how we know you ain't Sacramento. You worried about all these?
I'm sorry. Who was that game 2 of the Kings Warriors? Who was that game 7? People was showing up. It was in the building.
Who cares if there's celebrities there? What's that got to do with anything? Who cares
Vibes
if there's celebrities there?
Vibes was up.
So vibes aren't up in Oklahoma City when they're in the playoffs?
Maybe. Who knows?
Weren't you the dude who came in here like a week ago mad because they was talking about how loud it is at Chesapeake Arena or whatever it is?
It's fake news over there, bro. That they used a little.
Wasn't that you?
They used the little thunder sticks, bro. Stop. Charlotte is popping though.
When has anyone ever said that?
The city's on the come up. Charlotte is popping.
Why is it on the come up? What is making Charlotte on the come up?
Well, I'll tell you this. Black America, Charlotte is popping. It's coming. It's on the come up. Charlotte would be good vibes if they had a good team.
why do the vibes even matter to you? You live here.
Because, like I said, I don't want to tune into a Spurs game and be like,
You wouldn't want to see Wemby
ass environment.
Would be Wemby, Fox. Oh, Wemby, that player, and then Cooper Flag. Sorry, I don't know how people feel about that. I don't know.
I like the Parcells gimmick. From now on, we just refer to De'Aaron as the player.
I don't know how you guys feel about him. Like, I don't know if you guys are going to tune in for him, so I'll just call him that player until we're ready.
That player. Yeah.
New Orleans will be better. New Orleans will be a vibe. San Antonio is just boring, bro. Like I said,
I don't even understand. Like, you're okay.
Was it exciting? Was it exciting? The Spurs era?
No, that was also the Popovich, Tim Duncan. Those were the individuals. Those individuals were boring. Tim Duncan is the boringest human being alive.
Feels like a lot of hate.
I think it's not hate.
Wemby's already shown more charisma than Tim Duncan did in 20 years.
Being wasted in San Antonio.
I'd rather him go and develop and be a good ball player in a good organization like San Antonio than wind up in Charlotte where he's LaMelo Ball.
Years.
Once again, you guys are talking about the organizations. I'm talking about the vibes.
You sound ridiculous right now.
Charlotte will not have any vibes if they get Cooper Flag. It'll just be more dysfunction and then Cooper Flag getting traded in 5 years.
Now you got to get Cooper Flag and LaMelo out of.
Yeah, we got two.
Why do we care what black people in Charlotte think? Cooper Flag is white and he went to Duke.
Well, LaMelo gonna be in Charlotte.
Well, not according to Jesse.
Yeah,
Jesse's
I'm
trying to get him out of
on
there.
it. Like, no,
Jesse is trying to get that man out of there.
Yeah, no, he can't go to.
What, you don't want Cooper Flag next to the creek over there? Or?
The river. Come on, man.
Oh, sorry, the river.
You haven't been there either.
Yeah,
they should move that team.
Looks like my local creek.
Have you been to Austin?
Yeah, Austin's a great city. Austin reminds me of Sacramento a little bit.
Why?
Same type of vibe, like kind of slept
not
on
the
city.
Same type of, well, maybe that, maybe perception. I don't think Austin is slept on. I think everybody knows what Austin is. That's a college town.
When you think of Texas, though, you think of Dallas, Houston. You think of those two cities first, and then you get to Austin. Just like you think of California, you think of LA, the Bay Area, and then you're like, oh, Sacramento. They're both the capital. On top of that,
I don't feel like Austin is slept on. Everybody raves about Austin.
Yeah, when they go there, but nobody's saying I want a vacation to Austin. With all due respect, nobody.
Well, who wants to vacation in Texas? Don't go vacation in Texas. You go to Texas because you have to for something. Or you go to Texas because you want to see the Cowboys or the Texans or the Astros or whatever. Nobody goes, hey, baby, we got a week off. You want to go to Texas?
Well, even then, anybody say, hey, I want to go to San Antonio and watch the Spurs play. No,
literally, no one says that.
They might say, "Oh,"
but no one says, "I want to go to Houston and watch the Rockets play."
Well, not now, but I want to go to Dallas, watch the Cowboys play. Or
that's the Cowboys.
Or I want to go to Houston and watch the Texans and all this. Like, yeah, they got to. Nobody said I want to go to San Antonio for anything.
No, we're gonna get to the root of this one day. You don't like.
They're boring.
No, this is like how I feel about Cleveland.
I just don't understand. Like, you've never been there. That's the part that's weird to me.
It's probably a great city. It's probably fine. Like, fine. It's fine.
So you think
it's boring?
You think they're the most boring team in the NBA? Because there's plenty of other teams like that.
Don't you rep Fresno? Like, Fresno's cool. That's a cool place. Don't you do that?
Fresno's fine with me. I have no problem with Fresno.
But San Antonio's not.
San Antonio,
like you're talking about the armpit of California.
Well, that's Bakersfield, by the way.
San Antonio.
You're right. My mistake. I apologize. You're right.
San Antonio is boring. It's boring. It looks like a boring ass place to be. What? Go see the Alamo? They don't even have a college there. At least Fresno has Fresno State. You can go to a Fresno State football game. What? I want to go to San Antonio Spurs basketball game?
I can't back you up on the Fresno versus San Antonio thing, pal.
What?
Fresno's not better than San Antonio.
I'm not. Do you guys hear me? It's boring.
No, I've tuned you out at this point.
San Antonio is boring.
Okay. I hear you.
And I'm not even advocating for Fresno. Bring an NBA team to Fresno. I'm not saying that.
San Antonio is boring based on what? Tell me about your experience in San Antonio.
I haven't been to San Antonio.
Okay. All right.
So you think the vibes will be up more if like
I'm telling you, I'm telling. So you watch multiple teams. You watch Atlanta. You watch even Houston and Dallas when they're playing. Like you see them playing, and you're like, yo, it's popping out there. Like it's a vibe out there. You look through the crowd. Oh yeah, it's a vibe out there. You see on social media, Dallas fan here, Rockets fan here. It's a vibe. Oh, who's courtside? Pat Mahomes courtside. That's what's up. Oh, what? Travis Scott. Like it's a vibe out there.
I don't do that ever.
Okay.
Like I literally never watched a basketball game going, oh, Patrick Mahomes is there. This is fun. I don't care. That's not what I'm watching for.
Okay. You can love the Spurs if you want to. I'm telling you, for me and for a lot of people, once again, am I on an island saying that was a boring era of basketball when the Spurs were dominant? Am I on an island?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, you guys saying like I'm
You're talking
alone.
about the.
It's not like the Spurs own that era though. Like
What
LeBron and like Kobe, like that was all part. Like it wasn't just like we were just watching the Spurs. Like
I can't tell if you're
alone?
talking about the Spurs or the city.
I think that the whole environment of San Antonio.
Now, is it the
Spurs?
So the Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, that era of dominant basketball was like 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
It was boring because San Antonio was boring.
San Antonio didn't help. Like they didn't add any pizzazz to it.
Tim Duncan got to San Antonio, was this huge charismatic individual, and San Antonio zapped him of that.
Not saying that. I'm asking you. That era, watching the San Antonio Spurs on TV and seeing and knowing the Spurs are on your television doesn't mean they weren't good, weren't great, it wasn't a great era. We do the same thing with Denver, right?
The exact same thing.
We do the same thing. But it's not nobody's
city
ever
of Denver.
No, but the vibes of Denver. We talk all the time about how Denver could care less about the Nuggets.
Yeah.
Right. And that factors in, like that doesn't factor into whether or not we're gonna watch, but the excitement isn't that of the Garden. Like, oh man, the Garden, it's about to be popping in the Garden. We ain't never said, oh, it's about to be popping in the Pepsi Center. It's about to be popping in the SBC Center. Well, we never said that.
That's New York.
Like, have we ever said that about San Antonio Spurs game? It's about to be popping in there, even when they're winning a championship game.
I've never said that about any game other than the Garden. The only
we said that about Boston Garden. We said it about Lakers game, Warriors games, all this other stuff.
I mean,
what Warriors game?
Even into it.
I ain't never said it's going to be popping at the Chase Center.
No, not Chase.
We'll do that.
Chase Center different. Chase Center different. Talking about Oracle when Rihanna and Beyonce, all these people would show up for the NBA Finals.
I mean, going back to the original point, though, like how's San Antonio any different than Charlotte? All those cities are boring. Whatever. Like no one's ever said anything. Oh, Charlotte, Washington's pop. Like they're all the same.
I don't think Charlotte's a boring city. Maybe the basketball team.
Well, as far as the NBA,
like that's the other
NBA,
thing.
like no one's ever been like, oh yeah, Charlotte is pop. Like they went to the playoffs with Kemba. Nobody cared. Yeah, like Charlotte, no one's ever cared.
All right. Well, I've heard a lot of people say Charlotte is popping. I've heard obviously, a lot of people think DC popping.
Oh yeah, DC.
But in NBA
terms, but that's different. Between Charlotte is popping, DC is popping. That doesn't mean Hornets games are popping nor Wizards games are popping.
They don't mean anything in the NBA.
Well, they haven't.
You know what's popping in DC? I know you do. The Capitals.
The Capitals are.
That's popping. What's popping in DC.
The Wizards.
It's a very
games,
bland form of popping, but
the Wizards games. The Wizards games. When they had Bradley Beal and John Wall, like you saw the vibe, you saw them in the series.
I lived there when they had them. I don't know.
I'm not even saying it's the same as the Capitals, but
it's just teams when they're winning. Yeah, they'll show up, but it wasn't like, oh, the Wizards are like this.
It wasn't
thing in the NBA. Like it didn't matter.
It's like in Sacramento, if the Kings, it's an appointment to get to a Kings game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that was ever the case in Washington. I don't know what happens in Charlotte or San Antonio. I feel like I don't know Charlotte at all. I feel like San Antonio does fine as a fan base, but I know. I mean, and obviously, I lived here. I live here. I lived in DC. But Wizards game was never an appointment with John Wall and Brad Beal.
Mm-hmm.
The Kings are especially when the rare occasion things are going well. Yeah, so hey, I got to get out to a Kings game. Like that is an appointment. That is something you have to do in this city.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look.
You guys got Zion.
You guys enjoy San Antonio. That's fine.
Well, it's not even enjoying. It's not enjoying San Antonio. Like San Antonio could be boring, but it's just like they're no different than Charlotte, Washington, New Orleans.
Like, New Orleans is popping Pelicans games.
Yeah, they got Zion and they did nothing with it.
No, when the Pelicans are good, those games are popping.
Because every team, though.
backtracking ass. I swear to God.
How am I backtracking?
How many impressions did you come in here and go, hey, Wody, we're going to talk about them LSU's Tigers?
Well, no,
over
it
here.
ain't popping like that. It's not like that. But we've seen New Orleans.
Got to talk about Derek Carr retirement over here, Wody. But now we're going to try to act like the Pelicans are popping.
I didn't say the Pelicans are popping. I said when they're winning, when Zion is actually playing and they're doing well, like those games are they lit.
That is not true. That is not true. I think the curtains top rows blacked out. That is not true.
Bottom line is
they get over there and go, look, Wody, the Mercedes Benz or whatever it's called now, right across the street.
Really
bottom line is,
you've been really up in your impression game lately.
Yeah, he's in his bag.
Yeah,
he's in his bag.
Salute.
He's
I
in
just
his
figured
bag.
the more I do him, maybe he start doing his. Well, you know what it is.
Once again, you guys can enjoy
sold
San
out
Antonio.
doing these goddamn impressions.
You guys can enjoy San Antonio. I see San Antonio on the docket, and I know the vibes aren't going to be the same as other cities when I'm watching.
Okay.
Does that mean I'm not watching the Spurs? No, I love basketball, so I'm watching the Spurs. I'm watching everybody. But I know it's not going to be like Sacramento. It's not going to be like New York. It's not going to be like Atlanta. It's not going to be like those places.
But compared to other teams we were talking about, like when have you ever pointed and been like Charlotte's popping ever in your life? Or like Washington, like those teams, like I feel like the Spurs when they were good were bigger than the Pelicans, I'd say.
Maybe so. Maybe so. Maybe so. Well, no,
well, just like go back to the original conversation. Like we don't want like Cooper to go to a boring team. Like all those teams are boring. They all are. They're all the same.
I think Washington could have more vibes.
There's no chance. No, there's no chance. There's no chance.
Okay.
No chance in Washington. Maybe Charlotte. I don't know. No chance.
Oh my goodness.
Well,
what are you doing with him?
We're still here.
Yeah, you wanna
still standing, still strong.
You wanna address. Everyone's worried about you.
I'm good.
I love that the 106.5 banner is like directly behind you, as if it's strategically placed there.
Yeah, no, we're good. Yeah. Like Nick's probably got this. Like, I don't know. Like I'm more worried about Tatum and that. I guess like Celtics say whatever playoffs is over.
That's why I can't even like come in here and be like hyped and happy or anything like that, because that's
losing Tatum is
that's
tough,
my dog, man. I'm serious. It's not even a bit. Like Tatum is one of my favorite players in the game today. Top 5 favorite player for me. I love his game. I love his demeanor.
Mm-hmm.
I was sick when I saw him on the ground. I was so sick, man.
Yeah, Daniel in the chat, Knicks fan, you won. Like, yeah, thanks, got it.
Yeah, it was tough. We were leaving the building. Casey goes, "Oh, Tatum's hurt," and we stop and we're like looking at the phone, and I'm waiting for the replay. I didn't realize that the injury you didn't see it.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, what happened? And we're like looking at it, and then he rolls over, and they're touching the back of his Achilles, and you could see him shaking his head. And I'm like, oh no, oh come on, man. And then I get to the car, and I pull up Twitter, and the video of him being carried off is posted, and it's like, there's no way.
I was telling Jesse, usually from what I've heard with the Achilles tears, it's one or two things. It's either really painful or you don't feel anything. And you know, he looked like he was in pain. So one thing that I thought about last night, which I don't think is the case anymore, but I was like, I wonder if because I saw a real doctor on Twitter was like, there's two concerns: the Achilles, obviously, and then maybe a fracture. Like he might have broke his ankle. And the way he was kind of walking off with his toe in the air, and that made him, or not walking off, but being carried off that way, that kind of leads to the fact that it's probably the Achilles. We've seen it enough times in sports. I think that's probably what the case. But him being in pain the way he was, it ironically made me think of Derek Carr, because Derek Carr broke his ankle and he was just in pain. I can't remember. I think somebody kind of rolled into him, but he couldn't move. His leg was on the side. He couldn't move it. And that's kind of how Tatum was. Like his leg was on the side. And when somebody brought up a possible fracture, I was like, I wonder if he did break his ankle, but I think it's the Achilles. Hopefully we're all just wrong, but we've seen it a lot.
The way he the two things, the way he rolled over, and then I hate doing it. Like when someone rolls their ankle, they almost universally grab the front. They never grab the back. And he hits the ground and he's holding. I remember Tamika Catchings curled up in a ball on the floor. Almost. I mean, if you pull up Tamika's injury, it's almost identical to Tatum in the like on the ground, hand slap and holding the back of holding the Achilles essentially. And that to me is always that's the one to me. If you're holding the front, I think it's just instinctual. If you're holding the back, you felt something. And clearly I still haven't actually. I don't even know if there's a camera. I still haven't seen him go down.
It's
Tatum.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it.
Yeah,
because the camera didn't catch it live, right? He was on the other end of the floor.
No,
I saw the replay. He kind of not like exactly, kind of like sprinter stance, and then boom, pop.
Yeah, and he just collapses. And
he was running towards the ball.
I saw it. I can't watch that. I don't want to watch it anymore. Like
they haven't even announced it yet, right?
No, I didn't watch it multiple times because it's like I'm not gonna watch someone pop their Achilles. But someone said too, like you see it kind of shoot up his calf or something like that.
Yeah,
you know what that is.
Yeah,
and like I say, I've Damien talked about we were leaving the building, and I was just and Damien was too. We were just sick. I was just sick, just a sick feeling. I hate the injury in general to anybody. But like I said, I'm so fond of Tatum, and he's in the prime of his career. And, we'll talk about the game at some point, but he was phenomenal last night. I was watching the game again last night, and he was phenomenal last night. That was what we always talk about, what we're looking for from a Tatum in those moments.
42, 8, and 4 steals. Goodness gracious.
He was sensational last night. He was so good last night. He was going shot for shot with Brunson. He was hitting threes, fall away. It was so damn good last night.
But
wow.
Here's the uncomfortable part, because I know the first, like, my nephew's favorite, my nephew's favorite player is Tatum. Kara's favorite player is Tatum. I'm like texting with them. This is all before driving away. Like, that's like their season, like this year, their future.
Oh, for sure.
Is the story. The Knicks played a hell of a basketball game last night and were in position to win that game when Tatum went down.
Yeah.
Shout out Michael Bridges. That's by 1,000 cuts with that mid range.
It is.
Oh, he went back to Jersey or Brooklyn.
It's so trivial to discuss the outcome of the game, but this is the playoffs, and this is the playoffs. And the once you weed through the really unfortunate reality that is Tatum's injury, and when you can have weeks, months long discussions on what the Boston Celtics will look like moving forward. Like we'll have a discussion. Is this it? Like, is the window closed? Is it done?
It's a real question.
The Knicks were in position to win that game when Tatum went down. Like they
were winning.
Like they're not up because of injuries.
Yeah, like Jalen was phenomenal. Jesse just mentioned Mikal. Like, they were playing. I think I can make. I won't. I would let you do it. If I asked you to make the argument that the Knicks are playing their best basketball of the year right now, could you make it?
For sure. They had that one stretch in the middle of the year where I think they won maybe 12 or 14 or 13 or 15 or something like that, and played really well, but it didn't look like this. It didn't look like this.
I feel like they've gotten I feel like they've gotten better in the 3 games. Obviously, they got, roughed up in game 3, but to be down 20 in game 1, not waver. Get that win. You think you're entering game 2 with confidence. You immediately go down 20 again. Don't waver. Come back. Get your ass kicked. And then come back in game 4 unfazed. To me, that's man. It's championship basketball. Like that's high. That's high end basketball right there from the New York Knicks.
One of the things that I looked at this Knicks team at the beginning of this series and kind of, I'm not the only one, but I'm just saying I kind of sniffed out. I kind of recognized for myself. It's like, this team is tough. This team is tough. This is the moment they had been waiting for, going up against Boston. Not saying they were like just kind of being cavalier up until this point, but they believed they were built to beat the Celtics, regardless of what happened in the regular season or anything else like that. And they were ready for this moment. And I think the Boston Celtics are champions, are obviously champions, but championship caliber team this year. Obviously, they were the favorites. But one of the things that I look at with them versus the Knicks is the Knicks are just tougher than the Celtics. When it gets down to crunch time, I think one of their strategies was, let's just get close in crunch time.
Yeah.
Don't like the game on Saturday. We didn't have a chance. Like, we got blown out. If I'm in the Knicks locker room, we got blown out. We didn't have a chance. They played a great game. But if we can, for a lack of a better term, take them into them deep waters late in the games, we believe that we're tougher than the Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
And we'll be able to gut out a victory. And in 3 of these games, that was almost a strategy. You don't want to get down by 20, but when they were down 20, let's just get close. Because if we get close late in the games, we're tougher than them.
Yeah.
And so far, that's what it looks like. This Knicks team reminds me a lot of, in this series, reminds me a lot of those early 90s Pat Riley Knicks teams, where they weren't more talented than the Bulls, but obviously one of the toughest group of individuals the NBA's ever seen, with Oakley, Mason, Gerald Wilkins, Xavier McDaniel, Pat Riley, John Starks. Like, they weren't this super talented team, but they got to conference finals and they pushed the Bulls to 7 because they just weren't going back down.
I don't want to undermine the spirit of what you're saying. I feel like this Knicks team is better, though, right?
No, they're more talented.
Okay,
Jalen Brunson,
you're just the toughness.
The
I
toughness.
got you.
Jalen Brunson, Cat, Michael, OG. I think they're all better than that roster of Knicks, but they bring that same type of grit that those teams brought as well.
Jalen.
Jalen's
becoming a legendary playoff performer. Like, what Jalen's doing is kind of crazy. Like, it's kind of nuts. Man, but still gutted for Tatum, gutted for the Celtics, gutted for Celtics fans. I think it's one thing to just go out there. You go out there, you lose to New York, even you lose 4-1. You lost 4-1. It is what it is. Losing Tatum, though, man, losing a player, maybe the Bucks feel the same way. You lose a player and you're left with that what if feeling in the pit of your stomach. Man, Kings fans are familiar with that. Lived that many years ago.
Because we got a lot to talk about, but I didn't want to forget this. You know what this Tatum situation reminds me of a little bit, Jesse? I could sympathize with you. Is when Buster Posey broke his leg. Buster Posey had jumped on the scene as a rookie. You got a little more history with Tatum than we had with Posey at the time, but he had jumped on the scene, won Rookie of the Year, was the day one leader of that franchise. They win a World Series in 2010, led by him and what he was able to do. And, this is a rookie. Like, we found the Hall of Famer. He just led us to a World Series. That's what we're going to do. And I think it was maybe around this time in 2011, forgot the guy's name. His last name was Cousins. Goes barreling into him at home plate. He snaps his ankle at home plate. And I'll never forget that night. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Didn't know what you were going to have now. You had this guy that you thought was going to be one of your franchise greats. And in his second year, he breaks his leg. Luckily, he was out for the year. Came back 2012, comeback player of the year. I think he won MVP They won another World Series and another one in 14. But just that feeling of you thought you had someone's whole career in front of you to be great. And then at that moment, it's all in question. It's all like, I don't know what's going to happen now. And I think Tatum will come back from whatever it is, but it still doesn't alleviate being nervous or scared.
And the Achilles injury is the one that does pose question marks more than, ACLs and all of that stuff. The one thing there's no condolences in this, like there's no there's no right side to any of this. But for me, like when you tear something, rupture something, even the Achilles, which is such a long, tedious rehab, I still feel like, hey, you go in there, it's an Achilles tear. You go in there, you repair it, you rehab. Everything that happens after that, I mean, there's physical stuff involved. There's an ungodly amount of mental stuff involved. Yeah, give me that over like whatever's happening with Joel.
Oh man.
You know what I mean? Like, give me that with whatever, the Kawhi Leonard San Antonio end, where you just can't quite pinpoint what's going. Like this, that's why I was so infuriated with the Joel Embiid. Yeah, we're gonna go get a scope. We're gonna shut him down for the season and get a scope. You're not fixing anything. Like you don't know what's going on. You're going in there and look. If I'm a 76ers fan and I don't know if Joel's ever going to be Joel again. I don't know if Joel's ever going to be back again. As scary as that Achilles is, especially because of the time frame and the way our brains move now, they just move at such a rapid pace. Thinking about Jayson Tatum being gone all next season is insane to think about. But I know he's coming back. And that's and if I'm trying to find a bright side, that's it. I'll take think about Lonzo Ball. Think about those doctors in Chicago, or those doctors all over the country going, I don't know what's going on with him. We can't figure this out. Yeah. They did trial and error for a year to get that man back on the back. They did trial and error in terms of operations for a year. Then had him rehab damn near a year to get him back on the floor. That's the one plus I got for that Achilles.
Brandon Roy, Chris Webber.
Oh my God, Brandon Roy.
Penny Hardaway. The microfracture was damn near an experiment.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of using Kevin Durant kind of as the silver lining. Kevin Durant tore his at an older age and came back just as good, if not
just
better,
good.
Just as good or whatever. Yeah. So it's like it's not impossible.
Tatum isn't the exact measurables of Kevin Durant, but Tatum is 6'9", has a good shot, has that type of game where he can have that similar type of bounce back that a Kevin Durant had when he came back. So still no official word. Like we're all, I guess, technically speculating, but we watched a lot of sports and it looks similar to some of the things we've seen. So prayers up, man, to Jayson Tatum, man, for sure.
And yet somehow the reaction to that pales in comparison to what happened about 2 hours prior when the NBA once again took a step to never beating the allegations that they're rigged. After trading Luka Doncic, a talent that most basketball fans believe is generational, to the Los Angeles Lakers in a move that's probably only equivalent to the Colts moving to Baltimore in the middle of the night. Somehow, that franchise winds up with the number 1 overall pick in the draft. We're watching this thing like, oh, there's stuff. Of course, we're 2 seconds into it. The Atlanta Hawks, get out of here. This garbage. And now it's like, all right, let's see what happens. And I think Dallas was the first one, right? Like, oh, Dallas moved up. And then
because I think it was Portland's when Portland went to 11. I think that put Dallas.
That put Dallas.
in the
That
top
put
four.
Dallas up. We saw Philadelphia move up. We saw San Antonio move up. Throw everyone off the scent by putting Charlotte in there.
Who had no chance of winning the number one pick?
None. And Dallas, you talk about no chance, with a 1.8% chance of winning the lottery. The Dallas Mavericks get the number one overall pick in the draft and the opportunity to draft Cooper Flagg out of Duke.
All right, man. Look, let's just start off right now. I think Kyle Madsen said it earlier. I agree with him. If you honestly ask me, is the NBA rigged? Or at the very least, we'll say the NBA draft. I still don't believe the games are rigged. I don't see enough evidence to believe that.
Draymond Green.
Well, no, he's just a
Point
gambling
saver.
addict. But
by the way, how the hell with great Draymond Green? That hoe scored 8 points in the first quarter yesterday. The prize picks more or less was 8.5. He didn't make his next basket till like the fourth quarter.
Come on, man. Hey, we gonna get to him because we didn't see what his career would have been like.
Oh,
We
seen
that. We've seen it before. People seem to forget, but we'll talk about this is your life without Steph. This would have been your life.
Who would have been better? Stephless Draymond Green or Joakim Noah?
Joakim Noah.
Joakim Noah was a top 5 MVP candidate one year, wasn't he? Or am I misremembering that?
Yeah, Joakim Noah would have been better than Draymond.
Was he really?
Pretty sure he had like one.
Yeah,
really
one
just,
year where
like
he
was
was
just lights out defensively though. It wasn't
Mhm.
like anything he was doing offensively. He's just like, yeah, Joakim Noah is just a night on defense for this team.
I feel like it was one of those years. One of those years when Rose was down,
That sounds right.
and he kept them at like top 3 in the East
Yeah.
or something like that.
Did he ever win Defensive Player of the Year? He didn't, did he?
I don't know if he
I don't- I
did,
feel
but
like
now
we
that we
just
talk
looked at
about it, it
this
feels like
year.
it's something he should have.
Well, we were talking about LeBron. I mean, he's in the Dwight Howard era.
Joakim.
He did 2014.
Yeah, Joakim had about a 4-year span where he was what everybody says Draymond Green has been. And credit to Draymond, I guess he's done it, for a longer period of time.
Okay.
We're talking 14 to 19 or 20, maybe it's around the same time, but
Nah, Draymond's longer. We can get to Draymond Green later.
We'll get to
That's
that.
my fault. We can get to Draymond Green later.
So if you ask me, is the NBA lottery rigged? I'm going to say no. Maybe I'm just going to have my head in the sand, pie in the sky. I don't want to believe that my beloved NBA could be fixed. But let's lay out this scenario specifically.
Okay.
We won't even go into the history just yet. We'll get to the history,
Okay.
but let's lay out this scenario specifically.
Okay.
In the middle of the night,
Mm-hmm.
the Mavericks general manager
Mm-hmm.
trades one of the best player and probably would end up being the best player in the franchise's history in the prime of his career out of nowhere. Just trades him out of nowhere. No bidding war, nothing. Just here, you're going to the Lakers. For, with all due respect, Anthony Davis, at this point in his career, that's how I'm saying Anthony Davis, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if this was a 25-year-old Anthony Davis, maybe it would make a little more sense. But right now, Anthony Davis,
Mm-hmm.
really? Max Christie, no picks, just makes the deal out of nowhere. All right. Very, very strange. No real explanation for it. Just why did you do that with Luka? And defense wins championships? Okay, that doesn't explain why he wasn't on the trade market. Defense wins championships. All right, Nico. We asked you why you didn't have a bidding war or anything, and you're just saying defense wins championships.
Couldn't have gotten Jaylen Brown and 3 first-round picks for him.
Defense wins championships.
No, I hear you, Nico, but I'm saying there's other great defensive players in the league that play more than 60 games a year.
We just believe that defense wins championships.
Nico, what did you have for dinner today?
Well, when you talk about dinner, you got to start with defense. Defense wins championships.
Thank you.
That's all the man said for months.
And defending himself against the hamburger.
That's all the man says for months. And then they don't tank. They try to win. They win their first playing game, beating the hell out of the Sacramento Kings. Then they get beat up by the Memphis Grizzlies.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get to lottery day. They've got a 1.8 chance of winning the lottery.
I believe I have this right. It wasn't the 4th lowest odds in this draft. It was the 4th lowest odds ever.
Yes.
Ever.
And all of a sudden, they get the number 1 pick. Once again, everything that I believe in, just, hey, man, nah, it's just coincidence. It's a coincidence. But much like injuries like that, we've seen enough movies. We've read enough books. We've heard enough back channel stuff where what seems probably more conceivable is the fix was in and we'll get you the number 1 pick. Guy couldn't even explain himself. He decided to trade Luka. Didn't even have didn't put him on the open market.
Mm-hmm.
One of the only things that makes sense is the fix was in. Now, I don't believe that. Once again, I'll put my head in the sand, put my pie in the sky, all this other stuff. I don't believe it. I don't want to believe it. I'm not going to believe it.
You put your pie in the sky like you actually pick up the pie off the table and put it up to the heavens. Like, what type of pie is it?
In the sky.
Okay. Is it
is
apple pie? Is it cherry pie?
Wu-Tang
Oh,
pie.
I don't think you could say that.
I dumped that, actually. Because I don't know if you can.
You could say it on USA.
I don't know.
Like 30 years ago.
Yeah, that's
Hey,
spike.
this isn't the attitude era, pal. Clean it up.
All you need is just one mom to be like, "No, little Johnny heard that. We're calling the FCC." Yeah,
Man.
I appreciate
Like,
you for taking that
you
shot, though.
what would you even tell the FCC?
Yeah, what would you tell them? What? I didn't curse.
To be honest, my thing is just like I'm just gonna ignore them and they won't talk to me.
That's a good
Well,
point.
that's
That's
what you gotta do.
It's like,
That's
are
a
you
good
Jesse
point.
Tapia? No.
no,
I-
I'm not.
I choose not to believe the evidence that's right in front of me.
Well, specifically, the latest
Yes.
evidence
that's
is in
once
front
again,
of you.
I just talked about the latest stuff.
The New Orleans Pelicans go from a league-owned team to a freshly sold team. And what do they get with that? I'm sure it's a coincidence. The number 1 overall pick in the draft. I'm sure it's a coincidence, though.
Let's go down the list. LeBron James is from Ohio.
Mm.
Cleveland has the number 1 pick
Mm-hmm.
out of nowhere
Mm-hmm.
the year he is in the draft.
I'm glad you said that. I didn't even think of this till you said that. Think about that for a second. Cleveland lands the lottery to get LeBron James. Subsequently, they win it again
When did they win it again?
to draft Kyrie Irving after LeBron left. Then they win it again to get Anthony. Well, it doesn't matter who they got. They won it again is the point.
You can say his name. Shout out Anthony Bennett.
Well,
When was that?
2013.
it was the next year, wasn't it?
Oh, I'm sorry. There was another one in there. My bad. So they won it 3 times. So I'm thinking of the last time. When was the last time they won it?
When LeBron came back.
Oh, Andrew Wiggins. Oh
Yeah,
my
when
gosh.
LeBron came back. Or specifically, right before LeBron James came back, they land the number 1 overall pick. LeBron puts together this big coming home letter, mentions all of his teammates except for one. LeBron doesn't mention the guy they just drafted. All right, at number 1. That poor kid had to go take pictures. There's pictures somewhere of Andrew Wiggins in a Cleveland Cavaliers uniform because he had to show up opening, day or, first day and do the back to school photo shoot.
Come on, man.
Because the trade couldn't be finalized yet.
Come on. What about Chicago? What about Chicago? Number 1 pick. The prodigal son is in Chicago. Derrick Rose. Chicago gets the number 1 pick. I'm just
Question.
I'm not gonna believe you. Ask me. Anybody ask me? Is the NBA draft rigged? Or the NBA lottery rigged? I'm gonna say no. But there are a lot of convenient coincidences over the history of the NBA lottery.
So with this specific instance, are we saying if it is rigged, are we saying the NBA is kind of working to get just for the Lakers, I guess, just to get the Luka there?
So
kind of all right.
That would be the
is that what we're saying then here?
One.
They're working for the Lakers in a sense?
Well, can we point something else out that I think so there's certainly that, and there are people that will believe that. There are entities more powerful than the Lakers. Money. What other noteworthy thing has happened with Dallas recently?
They were sold?
They were sold to a family with a crap ton of ungodly money. All right. If the NBA had a lottery, if the NFL had a lottery, as frequently as the Dallas Cowboys missed the playoffs, how many times would the Dallas Cowboys just happen to win the lottery? A lot. Why? Because their owner's powerful. And you start looking around, you start looking at Dan Gilbert, you start looking at Cleveland. Sacramento wins the lottery 1 time in 30 some odd years. Cleveland wins 4 times in less than a decade. How about your boys getting ready to go to the Western Conference Finals? How many number 1 overall picks have they had? Yeah.
What, 3?
Ant, Cat.
Am I missing one?
I feel like there is a third one. I can't think of who it is, but
I was on the phone with the listener. What'd you say?
How many has Minnesota had? How many number 1 picks has Minnesota had? They had Ant, they have Cat, and I feel like they had one more, but maybe they didn't.
No, I think just Ant and Cat, I think.
And then they got
traded
Andrew
for Wiggins.
And then they got Andrew Wiggins. But all of again, less than a decade. What is this, like a hot streak in Vegas? You got San Antonio. Next to LeBron James lands the lottery, the definitive lottery pick. San Antonio wins it. All right. This is the same organization that tanks David Robinson for a year to land Tim Duncan. They come out, they've got Wemby. They look fine. They shut Wemby down because of the blood clot issue and move up to 2. It's like a hot streak in Vegas. Again, Sacramento, You talk about powerful owners. Why would, with all due respect, Vivek don't have no power in the league. Let's rewind. Let's go back to Joe and Gavin. You got the Maloofs. This is dark web conspiracy stuff here. You go back to Joe and Gavin. Well, you can't rig the lottery. They're in the playoffs until they're not. But then what happens? Oh, they're hated. Why are they hated?
They broke.
That's it. They are broke. Get your broke ass out of our club. This is the 40-40 club, fam. Your little welfare ass is not welcome here. Get rid of that basketball team and get the hell out of our life. You think a ping pong ball is going to bounce their way? Come on, man.
So there are counters to conspiracy. You talk about the NFL and how if they had a lottery, Jerry Jones would have gotten it at some point.
Jerry Jones would have gotten it repeatedly.
Repeatedly. I don't believe outside of Magic Johnson, the Lakers have gotten the number one pick. And they were bad for about 5 years, and they never got the number one pick.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what somebody would argue against it. The Knicks, outside of the Patrick Ewing time, have not gotten the number one pick.
So Dolan's a good. That's it. That's a good one. I don't know that Jeannie is. I don't know that the Bus family is. The Bus family don't have money like that. And
so do you think the prestige would outweigh their money, their family money?
No. No. But I don't know. Like I said, I'm on the dark web. I don't even know. I don't even know where to find the dark web. I don't even know how you get there.
King's Reddit.
You go. Reddit is absolutely the dark web. Someone sent me a Reddit thread a couple weeks ago. I was like, "Whew, this is a different universe over here."
Man, I like I said, I don't believe, but there are some crazy coincidences, and this might. I'm not gonna say this takes the cake, but this is up there. This is up there. You combine that with the way Luka was traded. The way Luka was traded is crazy.
Yeah.
And you combine that with 5 months later being the number one pick.
Yep.
Are you serious? This pound for pound, this might be the most shady of them all.
Don't Nico Harrison and Anthony Davis have ties though that go beyond the NBA? I think it might be Nike. I thought I remember reading that.
Yeah, the Nike thing, which is always you would understand this too. People always talk about the Nike thing. Luka's a Jordan Brand athlete.
Mm-hmm.
They're under the same umbrella, but they don't work together.
I mean, you trade for Anthony Davis more so because, like, Anthony Davis. Like, you're making a deal where it's like you need a guy to trust coming in. Like, you get what I'm saying?
They do and they don't.
Would you say is their rivalry more friendly, competitive?
Jordan and Nike?
Yeah.
No.
That's what I'm saying.
No.
That's what I'm saying.
It's more like Jordan's the big bro. He gets what he wants. The best way the to me, the most telling thing is LeBron, for example. LeBron's got a lifetime deal with Nike. He can be seen in Jordans. He's you can do that as a Nike athlete.
Right. And the other way
Luka
around.
cannot wear Nike. We'll come back.
No, do you want to keep going or do you want to come back?
Let's.
We're talking, so.
Yeah, listen. Okay, we'll say good call. Yeah, that's how I would describe it. Like, Jordan ultimately has like the power. If Nike wants an athlete and Jordan wants an athlete, Jordan gets the first pitch. He gets the right. Hold on there, little brother.
Player.
Yeah, hold on. And he gets to pitch Luka or Maya Moore or whoever. He gets to pitch them first, and then Nike is next. But that's how it works. If Jordan says this is who I want, then he gets. Now Luka can say no, Maya can say no, whatever. But there's
They get first dibs.
There's belief, there's a prestige, because from what I understand, Jordan pays less.
But you're Jordan, but there's a lot of
perks. There are a lot of perks, and by all outward appearances, you appear to be Jordan Brand for life.
Yeah,
like that. I think the NWO took that slogan from the Jordan Brand. Mike still rocks nothing but Jordan Brand.
Mike told us.
Yeah, flat out. Flat out.
Mike Bibby told us.
My other question would be too, like, didn't the NBA kind of warn us about the new lottery system and like not necessarily going to be beneficial to teams who are tanking? Because last year,
that was the whole point.
Hawks landed the number one pick. They only had a 3% chance at that.
No team. So now we're on
5 years.
6 straight years. 19, 20, 21, 22.
5 years.
Okay.
5 years straight.
Okay. It's either 5 or 6. It started in 2019. So either 5 or 6 straight years, whatever it is. The worst team has not landed the number one pick.
Here's another one that.
So the idea that the Kings won one more game than Dallas.
I wish people would stop saying.
Doesn't quite.
I really wish.
It doesn't quite work that way.
They're making that correlation, and just stop. Just stop. Here's another another thought or fact that flies in the face of the conspiracy. We talk about the power and the money, power, respect, all this other stuff. Would you say that Michael Jordan is in that club or that side of the line where he's got the money, he's got the respect? The NBA probably wants to see him do well. When he was the Hornets owner.
No. I don't. We're talking about different levels of money.
But once again, just like with Jeannie, the prestige of Michael Jordan being successful, don't you think the NBA might want that?
No. Like, I don't know. Like, what's the benefit of it?
You could
just to say Jordan's
look at
team.
Look at our athlete, our greatest player, arguably our greatest player, now is successful as an owner. This is what happens in the NBA. This is legacy, all this other.
Maybe drafting Kwame Brown destroyed the NBA's idea of Michael Jordan.
He drafted him and ruined
it's just like he didn't play for the Wizards. He didn't GM the Washington Wizards, and
didn't happen.
I mean, you don't have to eliminate his time as the Hornets / Bobcats owner. I don't know if he owned the Bobcats or just the Hornets, but
most notable moment, slapping Malik.
First change.
That was the first one.
Name.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying I don't know.
Well, that was Bob Johnson's team, right?
Yeah.
Most notable moment, probably slapping Malik Monk in the back of the head as owner.
Malik made a silly mistake. So I bring that up. I bring that up to say Charlotte has landed the number 2 pick in the Shaq draft. They got Zoe.
Mm-hmm.
The Dwight Howard draft, they got Okafor.
Well, to be fair, okay, sorry, go ahead.
The Anthony Davis draft, they got Michael Kidd-Gilchrist.
Oops.
And in the Wemby draft, they got Brandon Miller.
How many?
How would we feel here in Sacramento getting number 2 in all those drafts?
Well, great, as long as we didn't land Marvin Bagley.
Yeah, but there was one. There was the one in all those drafts. It was Shaq. It was Dwight Howard. It was Anthony Davis. It was Wemby. 2, like Brandon Miller might still be good.
But
Okafor was cool. Zoe was cool.
But Jordan
they weren't one.
Did Jordan own the Okafor?
No.
He obviously didn't own the Alonzo one.
No, I think it's just the Wemby, and he might have been out by the Wemby one.
I don't think he did.
He never even got number 2. That's also like he never even got to 2. They always had him around 7. But that's crazy. The only one that was like, maybe it snuck up on people was Dwight. But can you imagine getting number 2 in all those drafts?
Dwight was the number 1 pick, right?
Huh?
Dwight was number 1. And who'd you say was number 2? Okafor?
You got the number 2 pick in the Shaq draft, Dwight Howard, Anthony Davis, and Wemby drafts.
Man.
And then they got 4, 3?
They got 4 yesterday, yeah. Because I think your boy got 3.
That ain't my boy.
That's your boy.
Hey, not my boy.
Let's see what Ishmael talking about, man. Elk Grove Kid Talk Line. We're thrilled that y'all here with us. Obviously, there's a lot to talk, or just conspiracy theory all day. 916-909-1320. Ishmael, what's up, baby?
How you doing, fellas?
How you doing, big dog?
Good. So on the sort of draft lottery conspiracy front, I think the math is just so crazy at this point that it's a conspiracy to think it's on the up and up. They had a stat that for the 3 teams, Sixers, Spurs, and Mavs all jump into the top 3, it was like 0.01% chance. And that happens like all the time that we see the 1% team every year. So if you just extrapolate that, it starts getting crazy. And my whole thing is the lottery should be abolished. So they brought it in 2018 because there was 9 teams, 30 wins and below the year before. So they said, we have to flatten these odds. There's too much tanking. Okay. Well, in 2016, there was only 5 teams that were 30 wins and below. So it really wasn't that big of a problem. It's sort of a year-to-year issue. This year, the number was back up to 7. So it's back up to higher than it was before they introduced flattening the odds. Why do these teams tank? Because teams like the Utah Jazz, This is their only pathway to getting a tier 1 NBA superstar. They have to draft the guy, develop him, then hope and pray that the player stays with the team long term. That's their only pathway. So flattening the odds, getting teams like the Sixers, who made so many mistakes, to just be rewarded with a top 3 pick is crazy to me. And in terms of the sort of fraudulence of the lottery itself, everyone today had their company lines at ESPN. It's Ernst & Young. It's Ernst & Young. They could never do this. Listen, the NBA is a multi-billion-dollar organization with 30 different billionaire CEOs involved, okay? Ernst & Young, a quick search of Ernst & Young, you've seen they've been in different fraud cases. They've had breaches multiple times. That's what happens in every walk of life. People look the other way. A billionaire gets this. You scratch my back, I do this. There's no way the Dumont family bought the Mavericks, had this insane trade that everyone said wiped away $1 billion from their team, losing Luka Doncic, without already knowing that the NBA is like, listen, if you can just get this guy to the Lakers, we don't even advertise the trade, which is, by the way, insane and unsportsmanlike for that to even happen. Listen, you make this trade happen, you can get your Anthony Davis, who we know you like, and we'll throw you Cooper Flag. Just, go ahead and don't advertise this, and we'll hook you up in the summer. And Nico Harrison has to eat crap for several months. But when you put the trade down on paper like that, because I believe Nico honestly did not believe in Luka long term, did believe defense and championships, all that. I believe that's true. But the trade being a non-negotiated trade across the league, a non-competitive trade, that shows you that clearly he was expecting something in return. Just like the NBA, with, quote, basketball reasons, blocked the Chris Paul trade when they didn't have an owner. Why? Because the team was in a sale process. Billionaire comes in. Don't lose Chris Paul. We have to trade that asset. We'll give you number 1 pick when you buy this team. You have to factor that into the price of buying these teams.
All right, Ishmael. Boy, he's dark
was
web.
cool,
Boy,
man.
hey, where do you go to the dark web, Ishmael?
I couldn't tell if the Chattels was buying it or not, so we got some time today.
Hey,
He was
cooking.
I
He
mean,
was cooking. Like I said, I'm gonna willfully.
I ain't mad at him.
I'm gonna willfully just say nope, nothing's rigged, and I know there is beginning to have a mountain of evidence that says there's something up.
If we Sabo says Ishmael about to go missing. Ishmael, hide. Turn your phone off, Ishmael. Turn your phone off. If we stop podding for a second, like the risks that the league runs of rigging something are so great. But you hoes are making this really difficult.
Bro, as we talked about, this might be the craziest of them all.
I guess wild was like Nico Harrison wouldn't be the first GM also to just kind of make a stupid move and just like he got saved this time, but like GMs, like we talked about picking quarterbacks, like sometimes these guys just don't know what they're doing. Nico, the way I see Nico got saved, maybe I'm naive and it is rigged, but
let me just ask you guys. I don't have to lay it out again because we know what it is. But let me just ask you guys, if you're looking at the two scenarios, Nico makes the move the way he makes the move, knowing that he is going to get the owner, knowing he's going to get the number 1 pick in the Cooper Flag draft, or everything just randomly happened. What makes more sense to you?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. At 12:54 on Tuesday, May 13th, that promise the Cooper Flag pick makes a whole lot of goddamn sense right now. Because we have tried to make sense of this trade for months.
And you're keeping this from all the other.
We've tried to make this make sense for months. And today is the first day it all makes sense.
That's all I'm saying.
No.
I'm with you, Jesse. I believe everything's on the up and up.
It's all out there. Like it's all right there in front of you if you want to turn it into somewhere.
If I ask you you're looking at two scenarios, what makes more sense? It being fixed makes more sense.
Well, I have a question too, like with that. If you're making that deal, like are you keeping it from all the other NBA billionaire owners? Like, hey, like Luke is going to the Lakers, whether you like it or not, or hey, we're gonna keep this from all the other owners. Like, how does that work then too?
Probably. Well, you're not even keeping it. Like you probably say
it's like you're giving Like you favoriting these two teams right here. Like why can't I get Luka or whatever?
Because
If
you're
this
gonna
is the
get paid
case.
handsomely on these expansion fees. You're gonna make $600 million.
So there's so there's the other part of this. Again, this is darker than the dark web. We media talking, podding, fans, the whole deal. We look at this from a competitive nature. I want my favorite team to win. Jesse's favorite player gets hurt. His favorite team has less of a chance to win. The Knicks go on. They do what they do. We look at it from Jalen Brunson. He's having a postseason for the ages. He's becoming a postseason player for the ages. That's us. That's Jalen. That's Jayson Tatum. That's Ime Udoka and Joe Mazzulla. That's Tom Thibodeau. That's what those guys do. But what do the owners do? The owners are in this for the money. The owners are running a business. Now, for most of them, there are exceptions. The Buss family, Jeannie, specifically, being one. This is a business, not their business. Their business earned them enough money to get into this business, which is fun. And you get a lot of perks out of being there's. You talk about the exclusive of exclusive clubs. A sports owner, that's as exclusive as you can get. But that don't mean they don't want to make money. And what you just talk about, hey, we got an idea. LeBron's going to retire soon. We're gonna get Luka over to LA, and we're gonna make Dallas whole again by getting them Cooper Flag. Now, Vivek, Joe Lacob. First of all, Joe, shut up. You got 4 championship rings. Get out of my face. You signed Draymond Green. Go sit down. The rest of you, we got billions of dollars in expansion fees coming in over the next couple of years. Y'all just might want to earn this money. Put together your teams. Do what you got to do. Y'all might want to earn this money. Engine our man, Jason Jones from the New York Times, a.k.a. The Athletic. I'll steal a Kenny question, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Jason, where would you rank last night as one of the, in terms of crazy NBA nights, where would you rank last night?
Oh, that's considering the amount of conspiracy speculation that it sparked. Oh, that's got to be that. In terms of just the lottery, probably the only other 2 lotteries that get to that are LeBron and Patrick Ewing. Yeah, I mean, in terms of lottery, it's top 3. Because
you throw the Tatum stuff in there, and you have
you got that. Yeah, it was
the Celtics being on the brink. The champs, they're the defending champions.
They blow another big lead again, another double-digit lead. Jalen Brunson goes. I mean, fourth quarter, Jalen Brunson is just unstoppable now. And what makes that so crazy to me, you look at Jalen Brunson, he should not be unstoppable. You just look at him, you go, that's the guy that's taking us out right now. But yeah. And the craziest thing about it is that now everyone's saying that Nico knew what he was doing. No, he didn't. He did not do that. Say, we'll get the number 1. They were trying to make the playoffs 3 weeks ago.
Now, hold on. I want to pause you right there because we've had a day full of conspiracy theories around here.
Oh yeah.
We've been in the black web pretty tough.
Right? Dark web. Yeah.
Jason Jones has been in the lottery process.
Oh, that's right.
I have been in there. Yeah, I've been in there before.
He has seen how it goes down. So I'm assuming Jason looks at all the conspiracy talk like you guys are dead wrong. Like I've seen how.
If they're pulling off a conspiracy, that conspiracy would have to happen well before they actually get in the room. Because I've been in there. I was in there when the Kings went up 2 in 2018.
So 18. That was the year before the new system was put in place.
Yeah. I was in there in 2018. I was in there for the Bagley year.
Okay.
Jesus.
And I sat there, and I think that year Phoenix came up 3 times. Like they got the first pick and then they like came up again and then they came and it was like, yeah, I'd have to go back and look at my old story and see how the order broke down. But yeah, Phoenix, their number came up more than once.
So explain, like, as best you can. Explain how that goes. Then do they do the lottery like X amount of times, and whoever how do you get to the number?
Off the top of basically, it's not one lottery ball. People remind people every team has a set number of combinations of numbers. And so wherever 3 or whatever, how many balls it is that pop up. And then when that combination comes up, that's the team.
And not everyone might follow this account, but the NBA tweeted the winning combination last night. And they do tweet a video of that process.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I didn't even know
after the fact, which leads a lot of people wondering what's going on. But they do. There is a video out there. I think anyone can follow the account. It's not like
it's and I've seen the combination. Like, oh, here comes Phoenix again, and I believe I was in there with Ken Catanella that year because every team has a representative. There's 8 to 10, 12 media folks in there. And
you were the one who told Cantanella as a joke, "Hey, you should take that kid out of Duke," and he thought you were serious. And that's Jason Jones's ultimate revenge.
Wow. I can't. I guess I can't escape. No, I can't escape because
you knew
that night. My first reaction was they're either going to get Ayton or Luka. This is good for them.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I was almost thinking it's almost better being number 2 because hey, there's 2 guys. You lose the whole. Which is the right guy? There's 2 guys. You take the other guy. Because remember, KD was the second pick. We've seen a lot of times Ja Morant was the second pick. You can have a lot of success picking second just because you don't have to. You don't have to go through the back and forth. But yeah, that was I would have not have guessed that night that the pick would not have been either Luka or Ayton. But then as it got closer, obviously we know what happened. But yeah, like I said, I've been in there. I love a great conspiracy theory, but I just, I always say if they're going to rig it, how come Boston didn't win it when they had all those lottery picks? How come the Lakers only got up to 2 a couple of times? Why couldn't the Knicks win it when Karl Anthony, that year they ended up with Porzingis, but how come they were at 4? And if they rigged it, they tried to help the Kings in 2018. If it was rigged, they tried to rig it for the Kings in 2018. Then.
Now, I would retort, and I don't believe that it's rigged. I don't. Okay. But I also may just have my head in the sand in the situation. my retort would be they may not feel like they have to rig it every year. There may be certain instances where they say, we've got to pay this off. Now, I don't believe that. I will ask you this, though, Jason. I will – because I'm with you. It's not rigged. But riddle me this. There are a lot of coincidences.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah.
A lot of coincidences that have gone down.
You trade your star to LA, you get the number 1 pick. LeBron leaves Cleveland. Let's put a guy right back in Cleveland, and LeBron comes back to play with that number 1 pick.
New owners is part of
New Orleans, Dallas. Yep.
Part of buying in.
Oh, like I said, if you want to do your whole little Windhorse, whatever he was doing that time, it's all there.
Mm-hmm. Why would they do that?
My favorite one was how come Dallas keeps getting all the great white players. They're like, we can't let. And someone said, I sent y'all that one. Utah got to be hot right now.
Hit them with the skin back.
My turn.
Like, hold up. We've been waiting for this moment for years. And you mean to tell me that guy's going to?
The discussion regarding the Kings continued into the commercial break to the point where I cut it off and was like, let's hold on. Let's continue this. Let's keep this conversation on the air because it's obviously one, Kings fans are, a bit of they feel a certain way about it, and rightfully so, for a lot of different reasons. But I want to bring Mark's comment back up on the screen and let you take over. Our man Mark says it's very hard to be objectively positive on the Kings. The franchise just dismantled the best team in 17 years in the span of a season and a half, and it's back to basketball hell.
Mm-hmm.
And you started to respond, and that's where I said, hang on.
Yeah.
Let's get through the commercial break and talk about this in front of everybody.
That's because you're a professional.
No.
You know how to handle these
First
things.
time I've been called that.
Been
called a lot of other things. First time I've been called a professional.
But to Mark's point, I understand anybody that is looking at the Kings situation and is saying, like, this is doomsday. Like, we've got no hope. Part of the reason why you have no hope, unfortunately, is geographical. Because, like, the Kings, I'll put it to you like this. That same Kings team, that Beam Team 1 team, you put them out there today, people are still going to question the future. People are still going to look at you like, yo, I don't, and I think people in Sacramento like, yo, I don't know if we got enough to mess with OKC. And you see what San Antonio's doing, and you see Houston, like they all got so much more than us. Like Beam Team 1 isn't even enough today to say you're in a championship space. You know what I mean? It's just the West is just crazy. That's my whole point.
Sure.
The West is really, really tough.
Yeah.
So there's that aspect of it. And then, so people defend till their little hearts fall out. Domantas Sabonis, Keegan Murray, Keon Ellis. They don't really defend Zach LaVine, and no more. They don't defend Malik Monk. But are these guys good or not? Because if they're not good, when I'm critical of Domantas Sabonis or somebody else, like I don't want to hear nobody else say nothing. Because if they're not good, if they're not all NBA players or top players, then that's when you're in basketball hell and you have no hope. But if they're good, the way like can't nobody talk about Domas and say anything bad about him. Or Keegan Murray, we can't give him up. Give him $125 million because you need him. Not saying those two are enough. You need more. But if these guys are as good as everybody here is saying they are, and they're untouchable, and you don't want to lose them and all this other stuff, then you're not in basketball hell. You just got to find some pieces around those guys.
Is that still the case?
I think it's questionable, but a lot of people don't. A lot of people are like, yeah, you give Keegan you give him $27 million a year. Domantas Sabonis, he's a great basketball player. You just need to put the right people around him, right? Like he's a foundational piece. Just put the right. And I'm not even saying that's wrong, but it can't be both. They can't be that good. Those two players, they can't be that good, and you have nothing. That's just the way I look at it. Like I think those guys are that good. I think Zach LaVine is still good. I think Malik Monk is good. I think you have a few good pieces that would make up a good team here in Sacramento, a playoff caliber team here in Sacramento. There are just one or two pieces that you've got to fill. And so I don't think it's like this hopeless situation that a lot of people think it is. I think Sabonis is a lot of what we talked about the last 2 years. I think Keegan Murray can be really good if, you got the right piece around. I think Zach LaVine is really good. That's where I may be alone, but I think Zach LaVine is really good. I think Monk is good. Keon Ellis is good. Devin Carter showed me some stuff last year. Now you need a point guard. You need another wing. You need to figure out how to make this DeMar DeRozan trade work for you and maybe add one more piece. And if you're able to do that, I think you can be right in the conversation of being a playoff team, a top 6 type team.
Okay. I try to stay off of the discourse in social media worlds. Like I just do not live in that.
Except when the NBA blatantly rigs the lottery.
Well, that one, like I think that's like one. I'm on like a
David, I don't know how long.
Yeah, that warranted my tweet for the quarter. I think I'm on a 1 tweet per quarter thing after my De'Aaron Fox retirement. Once I managed
I
to piss
forgot
off
about
the
that
player,
one.
the organization, and everybody, literally got these guys walking around. How does he know everything? Yeah, never mind. Never mind. Hey, if we do this live show, we'll tell the story. We're planning a live show that won't get. I don't know if it's going to happen. We're working on it. It won't get broadcast. If it doesn't get broadcast, we'll tell that whole goddamn story from beginning to end. And it might not be over yet. And if it did, it ended like 2 weeks ago.
Right.
I got a text while we were in Monterey, like, what?
Come on, man.
I'm literally like, yo, what? Are you good? Like, what happened? Oh, yeah. So I text Casey, like, you're not going to believe this.
Oh, man.
But so, like, I understand. I know, Matt's frustrated. Matt will be with us tomorrow. He's got his views on the team. He has ways that it thinks the team can get better, and we'll talk about that later. But I want to talk about, like, the hope is such a fascinating word to me, because hope isn't tangible. It's a mindset. And I guess hopelessness is a mindset also, because it's weird to use the word hope to describe having nothing. So to say, oh, this is a hopeless situation. Well, no, it's not. Hope is literally how you feel. There is nothing tangible to hope. And some people are, to use the line you used earlier, some people are eternal optimists. I don't think I understand the reference, and I understand the title of basketball hell. This is a franchise who, once you dig past 17 years, this is a franchise that for the majority of its existence, from a competitive standpoint, has sucked. This, from a competitive standpoint, is one of the worst organizations in professional basketball. And I've never done the research, but I have to imagine it's probably one of the worst in the history of professional sports.
Yes.
That's reality. Thank you, Joe.
Of course.
Just the voice of God jumps in. Shout out to our man Joe Brazil, who's helping us out with Jesse. But yes,
I agree.
It's this organization, through the majority of its existence, it's near 40-year existence, has been bad. But there are fans who believe, well, it's literally next year is our year, and we're in May. And the problem with May is Kings are never playing in it. And you're looking around, and I don't think this bothers anybody because of the circumstances involved. Buddy's playing. And Buddy is instrumental in them winning a series, not just a game. Buddy, goddamn healed, was instrumental in the Golden State Warriors winning a series. Now, I don't think Kings fans were hurt by that, but I do think there was unbelievable. Even this guy. And then you look out east. And for the second straight year, one of the more talked about trades in the league involved Sacramento and a young emerging player being traded. And whether you think he's leading that team to its second straight conference finals appearance, or you just think he's a part of that team that's going to a second straight conference finals appearance, and we'll talk about that. That's going to sting a little bit more. And I said, it doesn't bother me watching Tyrese, especially because De'Aaron's not here. It's just it's just this organization. I think there's a lot of Kings fans that feel the opposite. It sucks watching Tyrese, and we don't even have Fox. Like, we don't have anything. But there are fans who May will pass. And then that first half of June will pass. And so whether Tyrese, plays into the finals, whether Tyrese wins a championship, that's going to be behind you. And then that first moment happens. And we've used this line for years. whether it's June and July for the NBA or it's April and May for the NFL. It's draft time, it's new league year time, it's free agency time. Hope. The hope for change. And then, no, this isn't a presidential campaign. This is real. February comes around. You got the trade deadline. What gets everybody excited about the trade deadline? Change and hope that it makes your team better. It's harder to have that hope when you're watching Tyrese. It's harder to have that hope when you're watching other basketball teams. But when they're gone, and now this year will be different for Kings fans because there's nothing to focus on when it comes to the draft. Unless Scott Perry does something, we're not anticipating. Mm-hmm. But June, it's not really going to have that feel to it. But that first weekend in July, that coincides with basketball coming back to Sacramento. Then things start to shift a little bit. Then you can talk yourself into, stay tuned, Contavious Caldwell-Pope, or you talk yourself into Dorian Finney-Smith or Tobias Harris and the return, or some of these guys come in. You talk yourself into making these guys making a difference. And don't tell me I'm wrong in that, because everyone who says this is a hopeless situation right now, y'all didn't feel that way last July 4th or 5th or whatever day that was, because you saw change. You saw something new. You saw something different. You saw a star pick Sacramento over everybody else. Some of y'all didn't read the fine print, though. Some of y'all didn't read that LA didn't have the money. Some of y'all didn't read that Miami didn't have the money. Some of you didn't realize that some of these other destinations didn't have the money, but Sacramento had a trade partner that was willing to take some second-round picks in Harrison Barnes to allow them the cap space to bring in DeMar DeRozan and pay significantly more than any of those other franchises could. Mm-hmm. Now you got DeMar in the driver's seat of all of this because he's getting paid no matter what. And if those Scott Perry and DeMar have a conversation and they all decide that it's best for DeMar to go somewhere else, come July, I don't even know if you have to wait that long, but come hope, it's gonna come back. Yeah. And again, it's not tangible. You can't touch something and go, oh, this is hope. No, it's just a feel. Whether it's, some people have just eternal hope for number 10 in the NBA draft. Doesn't even have a player attached to it. Would you trade the number 10 pick? Oh, no, there's too much you can get there. Oh, what was the Keegan Murray thing? Trade the number 4 pick. Trade the number 4 pick. Trade the number 4 pick. Then Keegan Murray plays 2 games for Sacramento, and his name is attached to it. No, you can't trade that. No. There's something about like the numbers turning into names, and like it shifts everyone's
like
mentality.
The car going off the lot.
But
the second it goes off the lot, the values
it's different, right? Yeah. It's very different, and that hope when you're not watching basketball will return. And unless it's a quiet off season, I think come the start of the year, there are going to be a lot more people, a lot more Kings fans who are going to be able to talk themselves into things that they can't talk themselves into now. Whether it's Zach LaVine, Keegan Murray, Domantas Sabonis, whether it's the people who don't believe in Doug Christie as the head coach. All of that stuff will return. It's just we're stuck at this time where we're stuck in a month where the Kings have not played in 20 years, and we're watching former Kings and other teams play basketball right now. And it stings Sacramento. Yeah. We saw Detroit play. Detroit has lapped Sacramento. Now Kings fans are like, wait a minute. So we got Wemby and Cooper Flag in the West. There are Kings fans that are like, what's Dallas going to be? What's San Antonio going to be? Is De'Aaron just going to walk into the Golden One Center a couple of times a year and beat our ass? Like there's that sinking feeling, but it'll It'll change.
that number one, and it usually comes from like a top pick or something like that. And I was like, yeah, that's right. And then I look because everybody wants to point to OKC as to how to do it, right? Like that's the way you do it. Who are the two hottest teams in the playoffs right now, in your opinion?
The New York Knicks and the Indiana Pacers.
Either one of them, cat, but either one of them got a number one pick.
In the spirit of your question, no.
Cat's the only
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
They barely have lottery picks.
Mhm.
Tyrese was 11, 12 for the Kings.
I forget
And
what
they
number
didn't even,
Tyrese.
they
I always
didn't get him.
confusing
But
for Donovan.
Indiana didn't draft him,
Dave
but
Jones.
I will use him as an example. And maybe the most lethal person in the NBA playoffs right now was a second round pick.
Mhm.
Right? The two most lethal people in the playoffs right now were second round picks.
Mm.
The Knicks built that team not even through this whole New York free agency thing. They acquired assets. They were able to build up a stockpile, or excuse me, a war chest of assets, and they made good moves. They made savvy moves, like getting a Josh Hart, being able to go get an OG Anunoby, stockpiling those assets and getting Mikal Bridges and Karl Anthony Towns. Looking at a guy like Jalen Brunson and probably overpaying. I don't think Jalen Brunson went to the Knicks because it's in New York and it's a big market. His dad was in place there and they were about to pay him. If you're Sacramento and you're willing to overpay for a guy like Jalen Brunson, who Knicks, you can call him lucky. You can say they had good insight and they are good at their job, but nobody looked at Jalen Brunson when he was a free agent as the guy he is today.
Sure.
And
Just
they
thought he was good.
Thought he was good. And they paid him $100 million, $125 million. There were a lot of people who said they were crazy for doing something like that. Now look where they are. So you don't have to, you can be in the situation that the Kings are in right now and build a winner from this.
Mm-hmm.
You can,
I agree. I agree. No. I agree. You're 100%
Knicks,
right.
Jalen wasn't there the first time, right?
The
or
first
was
time
he?
what?
When they played Trae Young and that was it was a movie in the Garden.
Yeah, he was there.
No. He was RJ Barrett was there. It was RJ Barrett. It was Julius Randle, Manuel Quickly, and Brunson was doing that in Dallas.
Oh, Dallas, right.
Yeah, they went to the conference finals that year.
Yeah.
I think 22.
Yeah. And that was right after. That was the first year we could get back into arenas, right? That's how I remember.
Yeah.
Because remember the picture of the Garden with the vaccinated side and the non-vaccinated side, or the non-vaccinated,
like it was
section.
a smoking section.
Right. Now you can say they were in the playoffs, right? So they were a step ahead of but the Knicks weren't.
So
the Knicks were a relatively middling team that had a really good year,
right?
And they parlayed that into having assets, making good moves, and now they're where they're at.
But neither one of those teams tore down and rebuilt.
Right. That's my point.
Okay.
That's exactly my point. Like they were able to get where they are today without tearing things down, without rebuilding.
Right.
It is possible.
Which is why I don't buy that tanking, tearing down. You have to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
The teams that can do the tearing down and rebuild, you got to have that piece.
Mm-hmm.
And we have good players. I don't think we have that centerpiece.
And to bring it all around, and real quick to that point, the Knicks didn't have that piece.
Do they now?
They do now, but
it's Jalen.
It's Jalen.
Okay,
but Jalen wasn't looked at as the piece.
For
when
sure.
They signed him.
Since we're here, I want to bring up Sack King 7600. So, in your opinion, D'Lo, who's the Pacers centerpiece? Do you think the Pacers have a centerpiece?
I would say Tyrese. But I
don't think you're buying it.
There's a lot that's got to be around him. It's almost James said it the other day.
But it doesn't matter though. A lot that has to be. So what's that mean? You've got that piece in the middle that you're building around.
Mm-hmm.
That's this. I didn't think Tyrese could be the guy that you built around.
Mm-hmm.
I was wrong. I absolutely believe that he can. He has shown me more just in this postseason about what his future might be as a player than he's shown me in the first 3 years of his career, 4 years of his career, whatever it is. I've never believed that Tyrese, it's not even it's longer than that. I've never believed that Tyrese wasn't a good basketball player.
Mm-hmm.
But the franchise, as Kenny Caraway would say, Tyrese is franchise.
For sure.
He's a franchise player.
He's absolutely that. The Kings don't have that. I don't think Domas is. I think he's a little below, and the position matters too. He's not a point guard. Like I think it's a little different and a little more difficult from Domas' spot to be the franchise or somebody you build around, as opposed to your point guard who can handle the ball, get others involved, and score at a high level. But the whole thing that I was going to say was the Knicks and the Pacers didn't necessarily have that at the time, and
I hear you.
They were able to take it there. So when you look at,
so if you can get CAA to run your
or Scott Perry,
well, let's hope so.
But if you can, but this is where, and maybe it's an optimistic look, or I don't even know if it's that. It's just I kind of look at things like, all right, this is what it is. How do you figure this out? It doesn't mean it's easy. It doesn't mean, well, no, we're actually in a great spot. No, all right, this is what it is. How do you make this work? The Kings can make it work from where they're at. They can make it. It's been proven. I can make the argument. It's probably been proven as much as it is tanking to make it work from where they're at. And where they're at is you've got these fringe all-star guys that are kind of good, pretty good if they're the right team around them. Yeah, they're good, but if there are injuries or it's the wrong team, they can go this way. Like I'm looking at Sabonis and Levine. You got two guys where it can kind of go either way. You can go in a very positive direction from where they're at. It's been proven. There are two teams that are showing you how to do it right now. The Knicks and the Pacers. You can do it. You can also do it by stripping everything down and stinking for 3 years and then finding two great players like OKC did. Or finding one great player like Minnesota did. You can do it that way. But the thought
I'm not going to let you get away with Minnesota. I have my feelings about OKC, which we've talked about before, and I'll just continue to say it. You could do all of that if you have a player in demand. Russell Westbrook, Paul George. If Paul George, the Paul George, Kawhi Leonard situation is the greatest thing that happened to Oklahoma City. The absolute greatest. Minnesota, though. Minnesota sucked for just as long as Sacramento did.
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler comes in, ends that drought. And then they start all over.
They started over and they got the one. And that's a way to get there.
On the second try.
But we did it yesterday. Multiple teams have had the number one pick and ain't got it right.
Yep.
So just because you have the number one pick doesn't mean you're going to get it right.
That's
but
right.
They found the number one pick
or
and
the
they got an
number two.
opportunity. Oh, man. All right. Let me, because we were talking about the Thunder.
Yeah, this is really dramatic.
We're talking about the Thunder and what you do if you don't win the NBA championship. Is it what do you guys think? NBA championship, or more specifically, if you don't get out of the second?
I thought it. I thought it was more this series, than a championship. I don't. There's no harm in losing in the NBA finals. It's not that it's not going to sting, but I don't know that you go into that going, man, we're lacking. I feel like if you lose to Denver, who's legitimately running eight guys. 3 of them aren't effective. One of them could kill you. And by you, I mean either Oklahoma City or Denver. He could kill one of the two teams. And like that's, I mean, like if I was Sam Presti,
Yeah.
I'd ask myself some tough questions after the series. And if you felt like you had enough and it's about evolution and evolvement, I'm fine with that. But if you decided something else, I think I would be okay with that too.
Well, like losing in the finals is one thing, but it's like if you lose in this round, you didn't necessarily play your best basketball series. You were expected to go a lot farther, and then you kind of look at a guy like Jalen Williams. Like we didn't really get what we needed from you either. It just leaves more of a bad taste in your mouth.
Yeah. Yep.
Understandable. I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm so shook by what I saw last night. It might not matter if you lose in the championship, in the NBA Finals. You might still have to make a move. And I'll tell you what happened. So, I watched. What's the official name for the Netflix here? Chasing Gold. Run for
Chase for the Gold.
Sounds fine.
I don't remember. I got like.
Did you finish it?
No, I got to the. Well, is it? Did they do an episode on France?
Yeah.
I got to that one and lost all interest and never went back to it.
So I did about the same thing for a long time. But yesterday I had some time going. There were no games on.
Real quick, Court of Gold, by the way.
What is it?
Court of Gold.
Court of Gold.
Shout out, Lisa.
Did the same thing, and I didn't go back and finish it. Well, I had some time on my hand watching my daughter run around the house and tear everything up.
It's funny when Tyrone called.